A beautiful Columbus, Ohio couple have been shot dead. Their two children now have lost their parents, and police don't really know what happened, but we might be able to help. Let's talk about the case of the death of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Here we go. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another True Crime Conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Thank you for joining me wherever you're joining me from. And I never get sick of it. Tell me where you're joining me from in the comments, either in the live stream or if you're part of the rewatch crew, put it in the comments. I love to see where you guys are from. I don't know. I live stream out of my home office here in Western Pennsylvania. So we could calculate who's the farthest away. I think maybe Australia. Anyway, doesn't matter. We've got East Texas. Awesome. I'll go through. I'll see it. But before we get into that, let's just talk briefly about the case at hand. This is the couple, Spencer Tepe, age 37. He's a dentist. And Monique Tepe. I hope I'm pronouncing their name correctly. I think I am. Man, I sure hope so. It'd be embarrassing if I'm not. Anyway, 39 years old, stay-at-home mom to the couple's two small children. It's just a tragic story. And we're going to get into the details of this. Before we get into, we're going to watch some video. We're going to listen to some 911 calls here. This happened late last year, right? About a week and a half ago. But before we do, let me just make sure that my system is working and that I'm able to pull up comments here real quick. Let's just say, okay, reselling and thrifting is coming to us from East Texas. Let's see if it'll come up. Yay, it did. All right. Autumn says she's very close. In fact, Autumn is pretty much down the street from me. She's definitely not the farthest away. Gilbert, Arizona, Chicago in the town. Hello again, Libu Grizzly from Brazil. Glad you're here. Jersey, Hickory, North Carolina, Ohio, New Hampshire, Central Louisiana, Hildebrand, North Carolina, Los Angeles, City of Angels, dealing with the case against Nick Reiner down there. Glad you're here. Another one in Los Angeles. Glad you're here. Lancaster County, PA is here. We got near Scranton, PA. West Virginia, Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. Chattanooga, Tennessee, Tampa, Florida. You guys are coming from all over the place. So far, I think maybe Brazil is our farthest neighbor. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Okay. I want to bring you over to this tab. We're just going to get familiar with this case. This article right here, which is one of two articles that we're going to read, was published on the 3rd. What would that have been? Saturday? And then we're going to get to one that is from just a couple hours ago, okay? I just wanted to set the stage so we know the case. The headline is, Columbus, Ohio couple Spencer and Monique Tepe killed in the home where they exchanged vows. Here's what we know. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. It's not, well, we know, at least I suspect, maybe we don't know, I suspect that one of the reasons why some cases take off and some cases don't, some capture the national or international attention, some get into the zeitgeist, I think has a lot to do with beauty. I really do. And this is a beautiful young couple with some cool style. I love that 70s suit and bow tie. So cool. But yeah, The immense joy of Spencer and Monique Tepe was unmistakable on their wedding day in a 2021 video shared by the family, which captured them exchanging vows. The then newlyweds embraced and laughed in their Columbus, Ohio home as friends and loved ones cheered them on. But just 1 month before their 5th anniversary, the same setting where the couple began their life together became the site of unspeakable tragedy. The respected dentist, 37, and his 39-year-old wife, a stay-at-home mother, were found dead on Tuesday after being gunned down in their upscale home while their 2 young children were inside. And this might be the worst part of it. This reminds me of the Rebecca Byler case out here in Western Pennsylvania, the young Amish mom who was murdered in front of her little children. Right? This couple, they were murdered in the same home where their 2 young children were inside. And we're talking little kiddos here. I've pixelated their faces, but we're talking little ones. Who wrote this? This is well written. Emma Tucker, good on you. Well done. Good writing. A memorial of roses and sunflowers now grows outside the home as news of the shocking killing spread nationwide just days after Christmas, generating more questions than answers. Law enforcement has been reluctant to disclose any details about a possible suspect or motive, and this again was 3 days ago. We're gonna get an update, but said the killer or killers of the young couple remain on the loose. Even more mysterious, police revealed there were no obvious signs of forced entry and no firearm found at the scene, reported by WSYX. That makes me wonder if possibly there were casings found at the scene. Were there fingerprints or any DNA evidence? Of course, that kind of stuff that requires DNA testing, chemical testing, that's going to be a while before we get it. But no firearm, we know, and no forced entry. Guys, upscale homes tend to have security systems, right? And, in today's day and age, there really is no excuse for us to not have a basic security system that has cameras and stuff like that. Now, I know that they're not foolproof. They're not, I guess, criminal proof, but we really should have cameras near our homes, on our homes, facing outside, maybe in the main living areas too. Anyway, police are asking the public for any information on a case they say is being investigated as a double homicide, not a murder-suicide. Here's what we know and don't know about the tragedy, again, as of the 3rd. How concerned friends and colleagues led police to the home. Spencer Tepe had rarely missed work at Athens Dental Depot, located about 75 miles southeast of the family's Columbus home. Wow, he commuted. And he and his wife were always responsive, according to the owner of his practice, Dr. Mark Valrose. Again, WSYX reported. But on Tuesday morning, what day is this? Again, give me a second. This was the 3rd that it was reported, which was Saturday. So Tuesday would have been December 30th. So Tuesday morning, he didn't show up for work, spurring concern from his colleagues that continued to grow when they could not get in touch with him or his wife, according to 911 calls. We're going to listen to the 911 calls. Valrose made the first 911 call around 8:58 a.m. and asked police to conduct a wellness check, telling the dispatcher he is always on time and he would contact us if there were any issues, according to the recording. I don't know how else to say this, but we are very, very concerned. This is very out of character for him, he continued. We can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing. Oftentimes these dental practices become family. They become families. I had a fun experience. Total tangent here, guys. Total tangent. I had a really fun experience when we were driving in New York City over the holiday to help our daughter and son-in-law move. my wife and I, who have been married for 26 years, over 26 years, it was 26 in November. We were just reminiscing about old times, and we started asking each other questions, and I learned new things about my wife that I'd never heard, because we didn't meet each other till we were 23 years old. And I feel like I know, but it was so much fun to learn new things about who she was, growing up as a teenager. And the reason that that came to mind was she worked in two dental practices, and again, it's very much like a family affair, right? Okay, continuing the story from the third. At 9:22 a.m., an officer arrived at the home to perform the welfare check, but no one answered the door. Around 30 minutes later, Tepe's colleagues and a friend arrived at the home, but also did not get a response. The dispatch record showed a man at the scene also called 911 at 9:56 a.m. saying he heard children crying inside. Quote, "I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell," the caller said, according to dispatch audio. "But we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door to get into the house or what." 2 minutes later, another colleague of Tepe called 911 to say they had been unable to reach him for about 3 hours. Around 10:03 a.m., a friend of Tepe who said the two last spoke the day before was audibly distressed as he called 911, "There's a body." And this is the recording that we have. In fact, why don't we go ahead and listen to that recording right now? I'm going to have to mute my microphone while I play this. Hopefully this is going to work.
911, what's the location of your emergency? We've got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body. There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay,
Listen to how distressed he is.
Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
All right. I mean, what's going on there?
There's a body. Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a wellness check. We just came here, and he appears dead.
Okay.
There's blood.
Imagine being the one that has to see that, has to discover it. And you know what? That must have been a close-knit little community in that practice, or with their close friends, because 3 hours is all that passed before they're calling police. And I can't tell you, as a reporter, how many times I report on a missing person and it has been weeks since anybody saw them and they finally decided to contact police. And there are a lot of reasons for that. I'm not blaming anybody. Sometimes there are really good, valid reasons for that. But in this case, 3 hours. He was missing. He didn't show up for work. 3 hours later, they're talking to police. This is a close crew.
Laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get closer to see more than that.
Okay. So you can tell he's obviously not breathing or anything.
Yeah.
Is it like kind of like huddle? Like, does he look like?
It doesn't look huddled. I can't look.
Okay. All right. I understand. Okay. And then
Again, there's blood, but don't ask me any more questions. I can't look. The whole, man, coming upon that scene, that's tough, man. That is real tough. The recording continues.
when was the last time somebody spoke to him?
Yesterday, I suppose.
Yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
How old is he?
37.
37. Okay. Is he like a drug user or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. Just that's a really young age.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. All right. We're on our way.
Columbus Police, Tech 107.
So I think that was the first call that has been released. I think now we're listening to another call. Here we go.
Yes, I would like to ask for a wellness check on an individual at their home.
Oh, so these are out of order. So this would be the one that we read about just a few minutes ago.
Well, I'm currently in the state of Florida. I'm on vacation, but this individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
He didn't show up to work?
Correct.
Okay. Does he have medical problems or?
No, and he's been reliable, and we cannot get in touch with him, his wife, his family, anybody that lives in that house.
Okay. So
There's
you're
2
in
kids in the
Florida.
home. I'm in Florida. I own the business. I was informed by my employees that he was not at work, and he runs the office.
Did you receive information that he may have been involved in an accident or?
No, ma'am. I just know that he is he is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Okay. We will send somebody over as soon as we have an officer available, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Listen, I kind of want to shake that operator a little bit, but if I want grace to be extended to me, I got to extend grace, man. And they probably get calls all the time that turn out to be nothing. Plus, they have to remain calm themselves. And she's probably going, this doesn't sound like he just didn't show up for work. Were there any medical problems that we should be aware of? And, well, I guess, okay, we'll send somebody as soon as we have somebody available. That does make me just want to but at the same time, I also understand that they have a very difficult job and they see and hear all sorts of different things all the time. So I'm just gonna offer her the benefit of the doubt on that. Let's see. There's about another minute and 10 seconds here. So there's another call. Here we go.
Okay.
Our boss did not report to work. We haven't been able to get a hold of him for 3 hours. We are on site, and we can hear
Okay,
kids
I
inside.
just talked to somebody there.
Okay, I'm just making sure somebody called.
Yeah, I just got a call from somebody and sent it back up for
Okay.
dispatch.
Okay.
Are you there? Because you're not showing that you're at the
No, I'm
location.
en route there.
911. What's the location of your emergency?
You know, the fact that they're getting multiple calls and they're getting a little perturbed, like the dispatchers seem to be getting just a little perturbed. I mean, think of multiple people are calling, including one guy from completely, from 1,500 miles away, or whatever it is, Ohio to Florida. It's not close. They're obviously very, very concerned. This is so out of character for this couple. And they want to make sure that police are informed that somebody will do something after 3 hours. Man, I just applaud these people. They're amazing.
Okay, what's the emergency there? Police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
We already
wellness.
had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So.
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send them back out to you.
Oh, okay. So the timeline is friends arrive. No. Police arrive. They can't get in, and then friends arrive. They're coming from 75 miles away, probably, right? Ah, goodness. Yeah. So, all right. Getting back over here. Let's see. Their 2 children. Let me make sure that I didn't keep muting myself. Ages 1 and 4 were also found unharmed in the residence. Oh, let me just say, officers found the bodies of Spencer Tepe and Monique Tepe in their home in the Wyland Park neighborhood. Columbus police said their 2 children, ages 1 and 4, were also found unharmed in the residence. Police said physically unharmed. I think we need to be clear about that. So Columbus police have not issued any warnings to the community about an ongoing threat, and the agency did not respond to CNN's questions about the timing of the killings, whether the Tepes were specifically targeted, or any information about a suspect or motive. Again, as of the 3rd, we're going to get to it, okay? We're going to get to something updated from just a couple hours ago. The Franklin County Coroner's Office told CNN autopsy reports can take between 8 and 10 weeks to complete. A police incident report from Tuesday said Spencer and Monique were victims of a homicide. There's a police crime camera situated on a utility pole at an intersection located a few hundred feet from the Tepe's home, according to the Columbus Dispatch. On Monday, police released surveillance video of what they describe as a person of interest walking in the alley near the Tepe's home during the period investigators believe the couple was killed between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Let me bring this to you. I'm just going to let this play while I keep reading. The person appears to be wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and light pants and is walking with their hands in their sweater pockets along a snow-lined alley, the video shows. To help zero in on a motive and possible suspects, investigators will examine forensics, the possible entry of the killer, again, unforced, looks like. Yeah, weird. Yeah. Whether anything was stolen from the home and the Tepe family's background to determine any further threat to the rest of the community, according to CNN senior national security analyst Juliet Kayyem. Without a recovered firearm, it's not surprising detectives would investigate the deaths as a double homicide and not a murder-suicide, Kayyem said. The other clue is, of course, the children are left safe. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. What we know about the deeply happy couple. Spencer and Monique Tepe shared a beautiful, strong, and deeply happy relationship, bonded by a love of travel, laughter, and a mission to build a life rooted in love, said their family. We are heartbroken beyond words, reads the statement on behalf of the family. As the devastating loss of the couple permeates their community, the family said they are committed to seeing this tragedy fully and fairly brought to justice. Good for them. And to honoring them by protecting the future of their beloved children who are now in the care of relatives. By the way, guys, please, 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 if you share photos of the family, please pixelate and blur out the faces of the children. They need their privacy, man. These two little kiddos lost both of their parents. It seems like they've got a loving family, extended family, who are caring for them. But please give them that if you're going to share anything. Okay. Let's see. The children are now in the care of relatives. Meanwhile, Spencer's employee, Athens Dental Depot, announced its closure for the rest of the week as they shared the news of the sudden passing of the couple on Facebook. Quote, he will be deeply missed by our team and the many patients he cared for over the years. Our thoughts and sincerest condolences are with their families and loved ones during this very difficult time. Spencer graduated from The Ohio State University and was a member of the American Dental Association, was a devoted and proud father, a loving partner, and a friend to everyone he met, his family said. He was fluent in Spanish, a major fan of the Bengals and Buckeyes football teams, had a generous and energetic spirit. They said his wife, Monique Tepe, had a background in childhood education and brought care and intention. That's a beautiful virtue to have into everything she did. Their family said she was described as a loving, patient, and joyful mother whose warmth defined her. The couple, their family said, were extraordinary people whose lives were filled with love, joy, and a deep connection to others. Man, I hope that's said about me someday, when I'm long gone, decades from now, hopefully. But what a beautiful tribute. Extraordinary people whose lives were filled with love, joy, and deep connections to others. Let's bring up a picture of the family and go over to what you guys are saying. See if you have any thoughts, any comments, any ideas about who the person might be who we see in that video, how they might have gotten in, and so forth. I'm going to give you guys a little moment, okay? I do believe they have a little boy and a little girl. You guys were asking about that. Glitter is Forever says they did find casings. They had a security sign in the front of the house. Glitter is Forever says I'm about 30 minutes away from Columbus. That's a very gentrified neighborhood. The city has cameras on the corner. I suspect it will be solved hopefully soon. Tons of cameras all over other houses too. Glitter is Forever says the house next door has cameras on just about every corner and the side of the house facing the Tepe house. Good. Chevirock says, I just drove their home and an uncanny feeling came over my body. Yeah, glad for you locals. Hey, listen, those of you who are local like Glitter and Chevirock, if you have any information that is kind of a locals only information, please go over to my website, which is gavinfish.com. And this goes for anybody, by the way, who wants to give me any tips or any inside information, especially if you want to stay anonymous. You go over to my website, click on this little icon, the envelope icon, and it will take you to this form, I'm sorry, my website is slow to load. It's a huge website, actually, and I need to increase its speed. But you can fill out this form, and that will email me directly. It'll go right to me. You can stay anonymous if you want, but if you are local and you don't mind being in touch with me or a member of my team, please give me your contact information too, because I love that there are people in Columbus, in and around Columbus, that are in our community. Thank you so much. Andrea Stewie, the first dispatcher was so dismissive. She was acting like he was an idiot for even calling. Yeah, and I feel the frustration, and I also have that frustration. However, for reasons that I already said, it's a tough job. I've got a niece who did that job, and my goodness, it's a tough job. Let me keep going. North Carolina in the house. Worcester, Mass. Akron, Ohio. Glad you're here. Cooler by the Lake said that dispatcher was awful. She was so rude on the previous calls. Yeah, I wasn't all that impressed. I'm just trying to extend a little bit of grace. Yeah, look at her $1 million smile. Let me go through this again. Just look at that. She has one of those smiles that's big. It shows both sets of teeth. Just beautiful, just a lovely, that is kind of an Ellen Greenberg smile, isn't it? Just a beautiful, beautiful family with a cool sensibility. My goodness. It's just so sad. Zoo Girl says she had a restraining order against her ex-husband. I haven't read that anywhere, but we're going to read another article, and that might be included there. More comments on the dispatchers. They need some training. Erie, PA is in the house. Good to see you. I'm Goddess 1950. A little empathy can go a long way. Yeah. Let's see. Justice A to Z says I'm going to send you an email. Okay, I'll be on the lookout for it. Keep on going down here. Yeah, thanks, Glitter. I would love to hear from you. Yeah, I like your phrase about extending grace, Gavin. Yeah, listen, this is yet another, hold on, I better turn down yet another tangent. Give me a second here, guys. You know, I had a high school teacher that I really just didn't love. It was beyond not loving the guy. I've never had it in me to hate anybody, but he was close, right? And it's occurred to me just recently as his name has come up in conversations with old friends that his behavior, first of all, I was 17 years old when I interacted with this teacher, which means that I knew nothing about life at the time, right? I've been carrying that point of view with me now that all the way till I'm 50 years old now. So for 33, 34 years, I have kept my opinion of this guy, but it occurred to me recently. There were things about him that I knew. I knew that he'd had a baby and didn't want to be a dad. And that had to be really tough for him. I knew during that time that he separated and later divorced from his wife, which had to be a tough time. He was a young guy, and he was, navigating life probably as a broke teacher back then and going to school for his master's degree. He was writing his thesis my senior year in high school. I've just come to the conclusion that, man, we just need to extend more grace to people. And carrying bad feelings like that, like I said, for 33, 34 years. In fact, my daughter later had him as her teacher. And when I went to back to school night, that was her freshman year in high school, I did the obligatory thing, and I was so grateful that he didn't recognize me because I didn't even want to talk to the guy, and it had been like 25 years. Right. So yeah, we need to be grace-filled and grace-giving people. It makes us happier. So I actually reached out to him recently. I doubt that he will, I sent like a friend request on Facebook. I doubt that he will accept that, but yeah, it's just so freeing to let go of harsh feelings. It really is. Okay, so let's go back over to Acrobat. Remember to put GF in your comments if you really want me to see them. But let's go over here to this article that was written today. Okay. Killings of Ohio dentist Spencer and wife Monique Tepe video could give clues to the killer. This is written by Holly Yan. It's on CNN, and it was written just a couple hours ago. Okay. Whoever gunned down a young dentist and his wife is still on the loose a week after the grisly killings. But police hope newly released video of a person of interest and help from the public will help solve the crime shrouded in mystery. Spencer Tepe, 37, Monique, 39, were found dead December 30th in their house in Columbus, Ohio. Their children, ages 4 and 1, were also inside and not physically harmed, police said. Good for Holly to add the qualifier. They weren't physically harmed. They have been emotionally damaged for the rest of their lives. But they weren't physically harmed, thank goodness. Investigators did not find any obvious signs of forced entry or any firearm at the scene. Again, real quick, going back to the Rebecca Byler case, which I don't think that I have. I don't. There were no pictures of her anyway. She was an Amish woman, and there were no pictures of her. But the perpetrator in that case, I think I have a case page on my website for Rebecca. Again, my website is a huge website, so full of stuff. Yeah. So the perpetrator in this, he was later convicted, a guy named Sean Cranston. He murdered Rebecca, and when he murdered her unborn child as well. He was convicted 2 counts of murder. He left little ones in the house. And I remember at the time that I was covering this, yeah, I went out there. This was in Spartansburg, Pennsylvania, which is in Crawford County. This is Mr. Cranston here. But I remember talking to somebody who was qualified to talk about these things. He would have known that the children were there. He would have known that they saw him, but also that they wouldn't be able to describe him. Now, turns out, and so he didn't feel danger, and he probably couldn't bring himself to kill little children. It turns out, though, that that little boy in this case was a hero and described what he was wearing, his shoes. I mean, described him to a T. It was amazing. So it could be that this little 4-year-old, and heaven bless him, it could be that this little 4-year-old could describe what happened to his parents as he hopefully gingerly, lovingly, caringly and forensically is interviewed. I'd be very interested to if that 4-year-old is the same kind, or if that 4-year-old witnessed anything. Possible that he didn't witness anything, or she didn't witness anything in this case. Okay, going back to this one, investigators did not find any obvious signs of forced entry or any firearm at the scene. Surveillance footage in the neighborhood shows a person wearing light-colored pants and a dark hoodie pulled over their head. I think that's a man. I know that it's hard to tell, but to me that's a masculine figure. The person keeps their head down as they trudge along a snow-lined alley in the dark. Let's see. This quote, detectives believe, let me see if I can find this actual, no. I'm just going to read this. Detectives believe the murder of Mr. and Mrs. Tepe occurred sometime between 2 and 5 a.m. on the morning of December 30th in the upstairs of their residence. Columbus police said in a written statement, recovered video footage shows a person of interest walking in the alley near the family's residence during that time frame. The couple lived in Columbus's fast-growing Wineland Park neighborhood. Here's a picture of the scene. Looks like a pretty cool, probably gentrified area, but I like the architecture. I like these kind of, they're standalone, but they kind of look like townhomes, flat roof, kind of cool. So the couple lived in Columbus's fast-growing Wineland Park neighborhood, which had a troubled past but is now thriving. Aside from the neighborhood surveillance footage released Monday evening, police have given scant details about the double homicide investigation. They've not answered CNN's questions about the suspect, possible motive, how the assailant got into the house, whether the couple was targeted, or whether there is any ongoing threat to the public. We want to thank the community for the tips we have received, Columbus police said Monday evening. We know there are questions and concerns surrounding this tragic incident. Detectives are working diligently to solve this case. We will continue to update you as the investigation progresses. Police would not say why they're describing the person in the video as a person of interest. My guess is they're interested in that person. Quote, in order to maintain the integrity of the investigation, we cannot answer that question right now, spokesperson Sergeant Joe Albert told CNN earlier today. And then we read everything about the 911 calls. So that's the update. So I'm going to play this footage again. I mean, those of you who are local, some people just have a different gait, right? I mean, look at that guy's gait. First of all, I'm convinced that is a man, but watch the gait as he goes back and forth. Right? He's kind of swinging his shoulders. One is dropping as the other is raising. That is a very specific gait. Does look like, now hands are in pockets, so it's hard to tell, but it does look like maybe a little heavy set. I don't know how tall. Hard to say. Just watch that gait. His toes are pointed slightly inward. If we look at that again, watch his toes. Toes are pointed slightly inward. That could be partly because of slipperiness, or it could be just the way that person walks. Does look like he walks on his toes a little bit. Walks on the inside of his feet, toes pointed in. I hope somebody recognizes this person from the way that he walks. While we're watching that, let me just see a couple things. Watching from Dallas, Texas. Glad you're here, Dallas. Thank you very much. Oh, Glitter says that's all understandable though, because as teenagers we are very impressionable. That's true. A crushed spirit can be devastating, even if only for a moment. Actually, in this case, I went on a trip my senior year, along with about 10 other students, and he was our chaperone. This particular teacher. At this particular trip, I was really grateful he was our chaperone because he was so afraid of flying that he got drunk in the airport bar, and I don't think I saw him the rest of the time. I saw him maybe once or twice. I loved that he was our chaperone as a teenager because that meant we could do anything. We could go anywhere. We could do whatever we wanted. And as a teenager, that sort of freedom was pretty awesome. What was your daughter's opinion? Well, my daughter's opinion was he was a good teacher, and he was a very good teacher. I just didn't like him personally, and we didn't understand each other. My senior year in high school, I had already met all the requirements to graduate, and I didn't need to go to school, but my parents made me go. I was mad at them for a while until I realized my senior year in high school was glorious. I'm glad they made me go. But it appeared to a lot of people that I was just kind of a coaster. And I was. I mean, I didn't want to be there. But I had him for a different class. I think she had him for like an AP level literature class, and he was my yearbook advisor. We published the yearbook. He was a great teacher and a great advisor to yearbook. I just didn't like him personally, and I have repented of that. Let's see if there's anything else about that. Yeah, Angela Host says the Walker definitely has a male gait. I think so. I think that's a man for sure. Looks like a male to me. Looks like a male to Mooney. So Elizabeth, you guys, those 4 houses on the corner are brand new, about 5 years old. Let me go back to that so I can see that. Yeah, they look awesome. I love that architectural style. I think it's really cool. Really, really cool. I mean, of course you'd live in a cool house. Look at how cool these people are. Right? They got their own style. Wearing furs in the cold on a Columbus road with her little flats. Oh man. They're cool and beautiful, beautiful people. It just so sad. See if there's anything else you guys want me to see. Jenny says, absolutely love the way in which you cover cases. So much grace and care given from you. Thank you. Well, I try. This is a new thing for me. I'm trying to be a better person. Definitely. Thank you for the compliment. All right, guys. So that is the case. We got to keep our eye on this one for sure. And hopefully there will be a break in the case. Those of you who are local, man, if you suspect anything, please reach out to Columbus PD. Please do that. Okay, with that, let's get into headlines.
True crime headlines.
Just a couple headlines that I wanted to bring you up to date on some cases that we're following. This was an article from yesterday. Grandmother hopeful Sullivan case will be solved. This is the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, the Pictou County, Nova Scotia kiddos who just vanished, just disappeared. This is written by Kevin Adshade from yesterday. As the calendar turns, leaving 2025 in the rearview mirror, Belinda Gray is hopeful that the saga of the Sullivan children is close to being solved. Her 2 grandchildren, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old brother Jack, who has since turned 5, went missing last May 2nd. It's been so long since May. Said to have wandered off from their home in Lansdowne Station. They have not been seen since, despite a massive search for the two kids involving hundreds of volunteers and police personnel in a case that has captured the attention of Canadians from coast to coast and, unfortunately, has led to a lot of online speculation about what exactly happened to the siblings. Very little evidence has been reportedly found with respect to their whereabouts, even with the use of a cadaver dog, drones, police helicopters, and multiple searches. Gray said that a widely reported guarantee from the RCMP's Major Crimes Unit this past week that the case will be solved has somewhat boosted her spirits. Quote, "I'm hoping to get some good news one way or the other," she said in an interview from her home in a town in Canada that I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of out of respect for it, though if I can just maybe move into my disrespectful self. I think you guys are making up these words. Okay, Canada and Australia. No, I know why. I'm just kidding around. Muscodobuit. I can't do it, but sure, it's amazing. Graves previously said she doesn't believe the children are still alive, but still wants to see the uncertainty come to an end, if for no other reason than to bring closure to those who care about the two children. It's given me hope that they're a little closer to figuring things out, she said. Gray is the paternal grandmother. If you guys remember, let's see. I believe I have, here are Lily and Jack, their stepfather, David Martell, and their mother, Malia. Where's Malia Brooks Murray here? That's who we're talking about here. Okay, so that's the update there. Now, do you guys remember the murder of Danica Troy? This just happened at the end of November. She was lured where by two teenagers, I think into the woods, and murdered. But one of those teen boys has been charged with her murder in Santa Rosa County. Well, they've both been charged. He pleaded not guilty on Monday, was denied bond. Gabriel Williams, 16, also demanded a jury trial during his court appearance. He waived his appearance for arraignment, which would be 2 days from now. Speaking of arraignments, by the way, this is reminding me, we've got the arraignment of Nick Reiner tomorrow. So we'll be talking about that case tomorrow. Williams and 14-year-old Kamari Blevins have both been indicted for first-degree premeditated murder and are both being held in Santa Rosa County Jail without bond. Blevins is due in court again on the 8th. Both boys will be tried as adults. So that is what is happening in the Danica Troy case. We have a couple pictures of Danica lured by two boys into the woods where she was murdered. So, that one gets they all get my blood boiling, but leave kids alone, man. Even if you're kids, leave kids alone. Just kills. So those are your headlines. We got a few more minutes, so let's get into 3 questions. Here we go.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
How? Okay, guys, in the 3 questions segment, if you don't know, I answer 3 questions sent in by you. You can send in more than 3 questions. You can send in 300 questions, but I will answer 3 at a time. Just send them to 3questions@gavinfish.com. Now, some of you are asking really good questions for this segment in the live chat, but there are rules here, people. There are rules. I need time to get my graphics up. So you got to email them in, right? So just send them into 3questions@gavinfish.com. It is spelled out THREE questions@gavinfish.com. If you want, you can also go to gavinfish.com and fill it out in the contact form. Okay? Here we go. What's the button I'm to push? Here we go. This didn't come up. See, I didn't prepare my after all that, my graphics were unprepared. Let's refresh them, shall we? There we go. Okay. What is one piece of advice you'd give to a young father of a 5-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter? Listen, parenthood is the greatest blessing that you will receive in your life. It is also the most difficult thing that you will do. And we are learning, my wife and I, through our children who are now 3 of the 5 are now grown adults, that it doesn't stop being hard when your children become adults. In fact, it kind of ramps up just a little bit. But I saw a thing, I think it was on TikTok or a YouTube short or something like that, about a guy who said that, the most powerful words he has ever heard is, "Dad, I need help." And when you hear those words, you just go into that mode, right? You just like, this is what I was built for. This is why I am on this earth. Dad, I need help. I'm in. So, yeah, listen, love your kiddos, take lots of pictures, and also live in the moment. You got to do both things, but take lots of pictures, back them up. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I am going through thousands of old negatives and scanning them in. These are pictures that my parents have taken over the years. I have gone through and organized this many, and I have this many to go. Take pictures, back them up. Looking back on when your kids are little is maybe one of the most fulfilling things that you will do, or at least one of the most sentimental things that you will do. Take lots of pictures, but also live in the moment. Don't live with a camera in front of your face. Hope that helps. Let's see. Question number 2. Be honest. I solemnly swear that I will. That's part of the deal here, is that I have to be honest, okay? Be honest. What is the most I never thought I'd say this out loud thing you've had to say to your kids? Never thought I'd have to say this out loud. Man, you guys are asking the family questions today. Man, that is a tough question. What is the most I never thought I'd have to say this out loud thing you've had to say to your kids? I guess it's... Guys, I got nothing. Because you say some of the craziest, most outlandish things to your kids. Oh, you know what? Here's one that I never wanted to say out loud, but because I chose true crime as the niche that I would work in, I became acutely aware of crime, right? One of the things that I have told my children out loud is that if they are ever in the position where they are being abducted, or they realize that their life might be ending shortly, to please fight back as hard as possible. If only so that you have the dignity of going out as a fighter, and that you leave evidence for me to follow up. And I hope that my kiddos never have to. Oh my goodness, I pray my kiddos will never have to take that advice. But that is something that I have told all of them. Fight back. Fight. Do not go down without fighting. Oh, guys have got me in a mood here. Last one. If someday we learn we're not alone in the universe. Oh, we've got a universe, like aliens and everything. Okay, this is a good question. If someday we learn we're not alone in the universe, what do you think would change about how people treat each other here? Hey, there is a book. It's a novel that Kimberly and I read in a book club years ago when we lived in California, called The Sparrow. Let me see if I can look this up. Yes, it's called The Sparrow. It's by Mary Doria Russell. And it is the story of a Jesuit priest who leads the first human mission to make contact with extraterrestrial life. This book opened my mind. Okay. This question just made me think of it. Please go read The Sparrow if you like novels. That is a book that is a must read. So good. It won so many awards. It's so good. But anyway, my answer to this question, having contemplated the thought after reading the book, I think nothing would change. I think nothing would change about how we treat each other. Because while on an individual level, we can make changes in our lives, we can become better people over time. We can become worse people over time, I guess. We can become more wise. We can grow and learn. Individually speaking, all of those things are true. But on the macro level, when we're talking about humanity, human nature, that never changes, in my opinion, ever. So what would change about how we treat each other if we learned that we're not alone in the universe? I don't think a dang thing would change. Good questions today, guys. Good questions. So please send your questions to 3questions@gavinfish.com. It's just a fun way for you to get to know me and for me to get to know you. My wife is constantly telling me, you need to ask these questions to your audience too. And we got like 5 minutes. So give me your answers. What piece of advice would you give to a young father of a 5-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter? What is one of your, I never thought I'd have to say this out loud, things that you've said to your kids? And what do you think if we found out that we're not alone in the universe? Would anything change about how we treat people? And while I'm waiting for your responses, because there is a lag of a couple minutes, I'm sure that there are a couple of comments. Let's see. Oh, let's see what Marie Goya here says. Let's see. I need to hide this, and I will do this, and I will bring up this. Marie says, it looks to me as if he might have a prosthetic leg. The right knee doesn't bend naturally like the left knee. Also, right toes point more. Let's take a look-see at this. I got to grab the right. So I need to reset it. Let me do it the manual way. Stop, reset. Here we go. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Those knees are bending, but I'm not an expert in prosthetics. And the right toe is the one that kind of goes in. But that could also be that it's icy and slippery and uneven. It's just so hard to tell. Like right there, he's definitely got that right toe pointed in. Great comment. I like it. Let's see. You're talking about... Oh, Lucy Fair says, I thought you were launching into a sponsor segment when you said we could all use home security system. This segment brought to you by Simply Safe, right? And then was pleasantly surprised when it was just your sincere thoughts. That's funny. This is not new. You've been this way as long as I've watched you. Oh, but that's only like 4 years. 4 or 5 years that I've been doing this. That's what I'm saying. If you guys knew me in my 20s and 30s, I don't know that you would like me. Definitely if you knew me when I was a teenager, I don't know that you would like me. Let's see. Restraining order was on both of them. It's automatic in that county upon filing. The ex and her remained friends after the divorce. He's not a suspect. Okay. All right. So the restraining order that people are talking about is automatic there. Got it. All right. This happened 5 miles or so from JPUP 6006. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got to get a POW every time I've got some theme music going. I can't help it. Yeah, let's see if there's anything else you got. Gavin, it sounds trite, but enjoy the moment, says Ohio Palm Mom. Years fly by and they grow up fast. Boy, do they. Boy, do they. So yeah, enjoy every moment. I was thinking, because our oldest daughter and son-in-law were back for a visit after we went and helped them move. They came back with us. And these days when I see our 25-year-old daughter, I also see the little 2-year-old that would sit in her little camping chair in the garage while I was doing woodworking and stuff like that. It's just, they grow up so fast, right? Those years have passed by so quickly. Couple more. Barbelson 8768. My advice is to let your kids know they can come to you about anything. Good advice. It's extremely difficult for kids to ask for help as they become adults. Yeah. And that reminds me, like, as you become an adult and you have those moments, those dad, I need help moments, and you're like, I was born for this, bring it on me. Think of your parents too, because they have those same feelings, right? Maybe feel a little extra appreciation for your folks. Pearl Snap says, Gavin, your streams get lots of views post live streaming. The other night you said you weren't the most successful YouTuber. I'm not, but I'm getting most of my income from YouTube these days, so it's pretty cool. Mooney says, I never thought I would have to answer questions like, Mom, have you ever gotten arrested? I told them the truth. Never lie to your kids. Good for you. Good for you. LB Hammer Time 2 says, Gavin, things I thought I would never say out loud. Flush the toilet when you're done. This is not show and tell. Leah Fox 221 says, I'm about to have my second child. Watching my 9-year-old fall in love with a bump is such a crazy feeling. Isn't it the most beautiful thing? It makes me think back to how little she was. Yeah, we have, in fact, let me show you a picture because I posted this in the fish tank, and this is a good segue over to the fish tank. We hang out on Facebook in a group called the Fish Tank. To get there, the easiest way is from my website. Just click on this little fishy up here in the corner. That will take you to the fish tank. You're cordially invited if that's your thing. No pressure. But we took this picture while everybody was here. We have 3 olders. We call them our olders and our littles. We have 3 olders and 2 littles. And then, of course, our oldest daughter is married. So we now have 4 olders, I guess. Because our son-in-law is rad. We love him. And we're glad he's part of our family. But the girl, this daughter in the gray sweater, she was 9.5 when our next son was born. So that made him, let's see, if she was 9, he was 11, she was 12. And the process of the pregnancy was so much fun to share with those kids. It was a completely different experience than when the olders were little and we were having more children, right? They were just oblivious to, oh, mommy has a big tummy right now. It's a fun thing to have children that are a little older. Yeah. Anyway, guys, that was fun. Thank you so much for answering those questions. We'll do that more. I need to remember. Kimberly's always reminding me, ask the 3 questions back to your viewers. All right, we're a few minutes over, so I'm going to wrap this up. But always remember that you can find us on crimecod.com, gavinfish.com. We're on Facebook in the Fish Tank. I'm all over social media, Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook. We're everywhere, so please join us there. We will be back tomorrow, likely talking about the Nick Reiner prosecution as he has his arraignment scheduled for tomorrow. So please join us then. Until then, I bid you adieu, and I hope that you will take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.